Hello, Captain Cathode here, making a video response to Lord Strange's video Murder. And here comes a moment of gushing praise. Lord Strange, I really enjoy your videos and I hope you keep making them. And the best thing I can say is that when I agree with you, I become a better games master. And when I disagree with you, I also become a better games master because I have to think about why I disagree with you. Did I agree with Murder? Not completely. You talked about your guiding principle being the end of Reservoir Dogs, which is a very dramatic scene. You've been in that film where the characters have been in the warehouse that they can't leave, and you've seen a lot of inter-party conflict, and you've been on an emotional journey. You know which character is good, which character is bad, which character was a cop, which character will flat out torture people because he can't think of anything better to do. And then they start pointing guns at each other, and bang, the whole world goes to hell, and everything is resolved very quickly, which is very dramatic and wonderful. And it would be great for games like Houses of the Blooded, that's one of your games. Also, World of Darkness, very appropriate, very gritty. For Dungeons and Dragons, not automatically what I would look for, because for me, the best part of Dungeons and Dragons is when I form a team with my friends to overcome a situation which I couldn't overcome as an individual. Dungeons and Dragons is often more of a player versus environment or player versus the world kind of game than it is a character versus character conflict. It doesn't always have to be player versus environment. Sometimes it can be player versus character as well. But there is a mix. My version of the best film Dungeons and Dragons scene is in Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring in the Mines of Moira, where you have the characters who are in a situation that they can't get out of. They are in the tomb of the Dwarven King, and they can't get out. Just like Reservoir Dogs, except that instead of being a SWAT team, there are loads of orcs. And you think about the party, there's actually quite a lot going on. You have Gandalf, who's trying to find the way out. Then you have 4 combat characters. You've got Aragorn, Boromir, Gimli, and Legolas, who can kill orcs all day long. And then you've got 4 characters who are less good at combat. You've got all the hobbits, and for them, killing an orc is pretty much a big achievement at that stage of the game. So, how would I try to solve or change Dungeons and Dragons combat so that every character in that scenario would feel like they were having an effect on the scenario? I'm going to steal 2 ideas. I'm going to steal an idea from Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition, which is the concept of a skills challenge. This was something that was introduced which some players didn't like, because it turned stuff that wasn't combat into a more of a metagame, and lots of people complained, "Oh, they're not letting me roleplay anymore because I can't do anything. I just do all these roles," which shows me that the games master didn't really understand what was going on. Here's how the system worked. You were given a target for a dramatic scenario. For example, you are on a ship, and your ship is in a storm. You have to work out how your characters get the ship out of the storm. You have to succeed 5 times, and you can't have more than 2 failures. If you fail twice, something more dramatic will happen. Your ship will crash. If you succeed 5 times, you will actually succeed and you will go on to the next place relatively unscathed. In fact, we might even reward you with a better scenario than you were thinking of. And you can use any skill that you like. If you are a fighter who is strong, you can use your strength to hold the rudder. If you are a rogue who is dexterous, you can use your dexterity to scuttle up the mast and pull down the sail. And you can use any skill that you like, as long as you justify it to the games master, to try to affect the situation. And like I said, some people went, oh, it just means I do some roles rather than doing roleplay. Which could be the case, if your Games Master is dumb. However, I took that idea and went, wait a minute, why don't we turn that on its head? Why is it that so many of my skills don't work during combat? Suddenly, all those skills that gave my character his areas of competence suddenly turn off when it's time for combat, and it's all just weapon skill and dexterity and strength, and if I don't have a combat character, it's not much fun anymore. So, I'm going to steal something from Spirit of the Century, the concept of a maneuver, which basically says if your character is good at something, they can declare that they can use that skill to declare something that will make the battle change. For example, if you have a hobbit who is small and gets in people's way, but isn't very good at combat, instead of just trying to attack an orc, which is going to be a pretty futile exercise, maybe you should do something like trip an orc up. Ah, you've tripped an orc up. That's not too hard. That's a dexterity check. And then your combat character comes in and kills that orc for free. Or at least with a very hefty modifier given by the Games Master, because that orc was flat on its face. It's easy to kill that orc. It should be a pretty much free action. And together, the two characters have created a scenario where you kill more orcs. That's my idea for maneuvers, is to turn combat into a skills challenge as well. Here's my other thing. Your combat, if you remember, I said that the fighting characters in the Mines of Moira are not going to have a problem killing orcs. However, there is a problem. There's a cave troll. The cave troll is a problem for the combat characters. So it's a complication. Here we go. You've got 5 rounds. And here is your cave troll. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds until the cave troll gets there, and then you've got to deal with the cave troll. And in the first round, you've got to kill 4 orcs, says the Games Master, and then 5 orcs, 6 orcs, and 7 orcs. I'm going to make it harder so that you have to try to use those combat maneuvers that I've just introduced. And what's the idea? So, well, if you don't kill 4 orcs, guess what? You lose a round. The ogre, the troll, is getting closer. So you're actually putting the players in a more dramatic situation where their actions have a direct mechanical benefit. If they don't kill those orcs, the cave troll gets closer. Now, once the cave troll is dead, the orcs will all run away. But that's more dramatic way. It's a more dramatic way of resolving the situation. Either Gandalf opens the door in time, in which case the characters feel good because they bought Gandalf enough time to solve the problem, or you have to deal with the cave troll, which makes the players feel dramatic because they just killed a cave troll. That's pretty impressive. So, to summarize, in my idea of a perfect Dungeons & Dragons combat, number 1, don't turn any skills off. Allow any skill to be justifiably used to alter the battlefield. 2, put it on a timer so that if the time runs out, something more dramatic will happen. And 3, if it's gone more than 10 rounds, seriously consider suicide, because nobody wants to do 10 rounds of combat ever again.